It's 10 p.m. in Banjul, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. First, the headlines. President Jammeh praises star football referee Bakary Papa Gassama's efforts to raise the Gambia's prestige and profile internationally. Child Fund The Gambia donates a 40-foot container laden with medical equipment to Operation Save the Children Foundation. Severe weather blame on the El Niño's phenomenon leaves dozens dead in East Asia. And European Union Interior and Justice Ministers meet in the Netherlands for urgent talks on the unprecedented migrant crisis. Well, viewers, those are your headlines. With me, WNIFRED NICOL. Thanks for joining us once again. Renowned international Gambian referee Bakary Papa Gassama this afternoon called on the Gambian leader, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya AJJ Jammeh Babili Mansa at State House. Mr. Gassama was at State House to present a tour of awards recently scooped at both the continental and global levels for outstanding performance in the field of football refereeing. As we hear in this report by Mamadou Jallo, Professor Jammeh hailed Mr. Gassama's efforts, which have raised the Gambia's prestige and profile internationally. Well, that report by Mamadou Jallo will come later in the news. Child Fund The Gambia has again thrown its weight behind First Lady Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh's Operation Save the Children Foundation, this time with the donation of a 40-foot container laden with medical equipment. Uminjai reports on the presentation ceremony presided over by the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Aja Dr. Aissatou Sedi.
One by one, they arrived as members of the Child Fund Office, The Gambia, at the presidency to deliver to the Vice President an assortment of medical equipment to First Lady Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh's Operation Save the Children Foundation. A project whose principal aim is to ensure that every child within the length and breadth of the country is fully protected and receives equal rights and opportunities. The non-profit organization, which is also a child development organization, started its operation in the country back in 1984 and has a program that mobilizes resources such as educational supplies, health and other materials that can equally contribute towards improving lives, thereby bringing positive change to communities. This donation, as the Child Fund Board Chairperson acknowledged, will complement President Jammeh's quest to bringing health to the doorstep of every Gambian.
Child Fund wants to further appreciate the untiring efforts of His Excellency the President by providing medical doctors in all government dispensaries, minor and major health centers, and in many remote countries throughout the Gambia with medical equipment which will complement the efforts of government.
The country's main referral hospital is the main beneficiary of the gesture. They express delight to the donor organization.
On behalf of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, the staff and the patient, I wish to convey our gratitude and our appreciation for the efforts and the concern, particularly in the area of children.
The Director of Pharmaceutical Services thanked the First Lady for her continuous interventions in the health sector, but not without assuring the donors of a judicious use of the medical equipment.
We want to assure the donors that the item donated will be put in good use, will ensure that it reaches the target population. Not only that, we'll monitor their use at the facilities they are donated to.
On behalf of the First Lady, we say a big thank you, and this is a clear manifestation of her commitment to say we can do it, and I can do it as the First Lady. So we are behind her, and you have just come to show your solidarity towards what she wants to see the medical sector look like?
In receiving the donated items, the Vice President, Her Excellency Ajah Dr. Aissatou Njie Sedi, recounted First Lady Madam Zainab Jammeh's many interventions to the health sector, which has touched the lives of many individuals. Vice President Njie Sedi thanked the donors for the much-needed gesture.
We are very grateful because, as I said, you give us not only just what we want, but you give us quality. You give us brand new things, because that's what His Excellency has always said. He said that the Gambia wants the best. You don't have to go for second hand. You don't have to go for what others don't want. It's not a dumping ground for anybody. I think he's always emphasized that, and particularly in health, it's critical. I know sometimes, years back, we used to receive a lot of containers, but most of it is used material. That's not helpful for us. If it's expired for Europe, it should be expired for Africa. That's what the President always says. And I'm happy that Child for the Gambia is a partner that never fails us in this instance. They always give us things of quality. They gave us equipment, but they also gave us consumables. And that's appreciated by definitely the tertiary institutions, I'm sure, both under the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and Edward Francis Paul Teaching Hospital. We use this to the best. Now there's a system where all consumables, all biomedical equipment, the government ensures that they are put to the use they are meant for.
With sustained donations to the social sectors of the country, particularly in the area of health, the impacts of a move like this can only overwhelm for the citizenry. Ominjai, GRTS.
Meanwhile, the Office of the First Lady wishes to inform the general public and heads of institutions that T-shirts for the cancer walk to be held on the 4th of February 2016 are now available at KGI stores in Banjul and Kairaba Avenue. A news release from the said office states that anyone wishing to purchase the T-shirts can pay in bulk at any Trust Bank branch to the account bearing the name Operation Save the Children, account number 110-130-37901. The deposit slips the dispatch adds can then be exchanged for T-shirts at KGI. The payments, according to the news release, should indicate that it's for the Cancer Walk. T-shirts can also be purchased with cash directly at any of the KGI stores in Banjul and on Kairaba Avenue. The Cancer Walk will take place on the 4th of February at 8 a.m. from the National Assembly Building to the July 22nd Square in Banjul. All are invited to join Her Excellency the First Lady, Madam Zainab Yahya Jammeh, in raising awareness of cancer in the Gambia, the dispatch ends. Public enterprises and agencies have started taking turns to present their audited accounts, activity reports, and financial statements to members of the National Assembly's Public Accounts and Public Enterprises Committees. On Monday, it was the turn of National Disaster Management Agency to go through the annual exercise, credited with ensuring accountability and transparency in the management of public enterprises. Louis Mendy reports.
The National Disaster Management Agency's 2014 Audited Activity Report and Financial Statement added that the agency during the year under review is working in the direction it was constituted for, principally to coordinate with stakeholders in reducing disaster. One of the ways the agency and partners do this is creating awareness on this subject, targeting the grassroots, exercise and others the agency and partners conducted in 2014.
We have worked together with the partners nationally and internationally to complete the final successor global framework called the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, which is designed for 2015 and to end 2030. All these discussions and developments are aimed at contributing towards developing a more realistic and action-oriented global framework for disaster risk reduction that countries could rely on. Achieving the objectives of these frameworks will contribute to the economy and will improve the well-being of the Gambian people in line with the national development strategies or goals.
For the fact that population rise, which is adding pressure on natural resources, is also a contributing factor to disaster, NDMA in 2014 focuses on disaster preparedness and response, governance, risk assessment, and monitoring to mitigate the effect of disaster, as highlighted in the reports presented to the National Assembly Public Account Public Enterprise Committee for scrutiny.
In compliance with national development policies and regional and international disaster strategies, we have developed a disaster risk reduction strategic document with support from the United Nations Development Programme Country Office, which has been submitted to Cabinet for consideration for approval. In addition, the Disaster Act of 2008 and the policy documents have all been revised through a consultative process with different stakeholders and forwarded for Cabinet advice as well. All is aimed at aligning these documents with the national development policies and regional and international disaster strategies and protocols.
NDMA, in its drive to respond to disaster within the limits of disaster risk reduction, is also substantially compliant with the Gambia Procurement Act. But the agency's audited financial statement has some queries.
Fixed assets register not properly structured and without vital information such as cost of assets acquired, date of acquisition, disposal information. 3.10, no disclosures regarding the Japanese grants received by the agency in 2014. 3.11, depreciation calculations not properly done and the agency did not keep adequate records for review regarding depreciation. 3.12, furniture and office equipment are categorized under the same class of assets.
It is these queries in the financial statement and others in the activity report the agency's administrators would have to answer the next day they return to the National Assembly for questioning on the document. Another institution that was supposed to present its 2014 audited activity report and financial statement to the Assembly's Joint Public Account Public Enterprise Committee for scrutiny was the Independent Electoral Commission. But that couldn't happen. The answer is simple. The IEC wasn't fully represented.
Key among the requirements is you have the head, that's the IEC chairman. You should have your administration, and if the accounts are ready, the external auditors to be with you. I don't know what you have to explain to members as regards why you decided to come alone.
The Independent Electoral Commission has embarked on a voter registration exercise countrywide and replacement of lost and mutilated card. 95% of the staff of IEC are all in the field. All commissioners are in the field. All directors are in the field. I myself as the chairman am in the field. I've started a countrywide tour. By today, I should have been at Mansakonko.
IEC was therefore referred to a later date, an opportunity to put their house in order. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
A number of aspiring and existing entrepreneurs have completed a training program courtesy of Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA, under its Emprotect project. The know-how gathered during the 6-day capacity enhancement effort is expected to help members of the 17th batch of trainers better manage their businesses. We have more in this report. A project under the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, implemented by the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA, has its objective premise on developing skills of aspiring and existing entrepreneurs. The project recently graduated its 17th batch.
If you are an entrepreneur, you are required to become an entrepreneur. How do you become an entrepreneur? You see, in the United States, you had a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He was commissioned by the richest man in America, the Carnegie, and told that right now I am the richest man in America, with Ford and with Rockefeller. And he says, we cannot survive, we cannot be rich in an island of poverty. So we want you to study and tell us what attributes, what behaviors does it take so that we can go away from having 3 multimillionaires in America to having 100 multimillionaires in America. Develop the middle class. Because if you are the only one, what happens? You become an endangered species. So he had to create the entrepreneurs. That was 70 years ago. So the Emprotech model They went to Harvard University, and David McClellan was commissioned to do the study. And he said, okay, the Think and Grow Rich was for Americans. We are not Americans, we are Africans. We are South Americans, we are Asians. So they came in and said, okay, I have discovered these 10 competencies and 3 clusters that cut across the entire globe. And it says it was in the 3 C's. Whatever your culture is, whatever your country is, whatever your continent is, if you practice these 10 pegs and have these 10 clusters, you will become rich.
Great among the many topics the beneficiaries of the induction seminar were taken through included the 10 competencies of a successful business entrepreneur, which included goal setting, systematic planning and monitoring, information seeking, commitment, amongst others.
Rest assured that through the BCE, that's the business creation exercise, we all now can identify the gutters that have business and life-changing opportunities. The other beauty of this training is the various quotes that are always stated at the end of every session, which reinforces the various pegs and their behaviors. At the end, we have all signed personal contracts on the next steps that we have all taxed ourselves in the next 21 days after the training.
Graduates of this intensive seminar were tutored by distinguished professionals in the relevant fields of expertise, which ultimately saw some deserving participants awarded and certificated. The week-long seminar and 16 similar others in the past, designed to promote entrepreneurs for socio-economic advancement, only speaks volumes about government's commitment to public-private partnership for overall national development. Reporting for Grts News, I'm WNIFRED NICOL. Residents of Central River Region village of Nyoro Njaikunda, a settlement once described as a bastion of the opposition National Reconciliation Party, have shifted allegiance to the ruling Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction. The mass defection, as Famara Kanye reports, is being attributed to the efforts of APRC stalwarts in the area.
200 people in the Central River Region settlement of Njaikunda were the latest to join the ruling APRC party. This settlement was once an NRP stronghold, but now the predominantly Fuller settlement has swift allegiance to the ruling party, while promising to rally behind President Jammeh and the APRC party. This development was witnessed by APRC bigwigs. They said the change of heart by the people of Nyoro was unsurprising thanks to the numerous developments under the wise leadership of President Jammeh. One of the key figures to address the gathering was Minister Balagaba Chahumpa, who took time to welcome the people of Nyoro to the APRC party. You are bona fide members of the party, he told them. He used the occasion to stress the need for youths to obtain voter cards to enable them partake in the upcoming election cycle. This remarkable addition to the APRC party is said to have been the outcome of the untiring efforts of party militants in Upper Salum. Key among them is the National Assembly member, Honorable Senimbai, whose efforts were greatly recognized by the people of the area. For his part, Honorable Mbai highlighted the numerous life-changing development initiatives championed by the Jammeh administration, adding that this enviable track record makes the ruling party a party with a difference. Other senior party figures, including the national mobilizer, Mayor Yankuba Koli, Honorable Babugay Sonko, and the tourism minister, Honorable Benjamin Roberts, all spoke about the development-oriented leadership of the current government under their party leader. The new members who could not hide their feelings said they have been in plain error for the past years, but now they promise to join the APRC, a party they say has transformed the Gambia into a vibrant nation. The timing of the defection of this group of former NRP followers comes at a crucial time, a period when the country is gearing up for elections. For Grts News, I am Famara Kanye.
The government of the Gambia wishes to inform the general public and all actors in goods transportation that the Gambia National Transport Control Association, GNTCA, is hereby banned from any involvement in the transportation sector in the country. A news release from the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment states that all GNTCA structures, controls, systems and tariffs not approved by government are dismantled, dissolved and abolished. All traders, locators and clearing forwarding agents intending to transport goods out of the country, the dispatch adds, are hereby informed that henceforth export declarations shall be processed by Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, at the border exit posts to replace the manifests which were issued by the GNTCA. Stakeholders, the release states, are therefore reminded that the government of the Gambia shall spare no efforts in ensuring that all physical barriers and impediments imposed by non-government agents to the smooth flow of trade within the country are removed. This is with a view to implementing a new dispensation of guarantee that trading activities and goods transportation through GRA, the seaport and other locations are conducted in a free and transparent manner, free from any inhibitions imposed by associations and union or other third parties. Thus, the release states, cargo owners and clearing and forwarding agents are duly informed that the queuing systems and other informal protocols imposed by the GNTCA for access to the port of Banjul and other loading centers, tariff, manifest fees, mandatory payment of manda, other fees levied for the transportation of goods within and outside the country are duly prohibited, and that interested parties are free to conduct their business transactions within the principles of free market, transparency, and in compliance with the laws of the Gambia. We will be back with news from outside the Gambia after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. East Asia is experiencing some of its coldest weather in decades. At least 65 deaths have been blamed on the icy conditions, with some reports suggesting as the death toll as high as 85. Most of the victims were elderly people. The highest death toll was in subtropical Taiwan, where few homes have central heating. There was unprecedented snowfall in other countries, including Japan and South Korea, causing large-scale destructions. For more on that, we go with this DWTV report.
It gives iced tea a whole new meaning. This tea plantation in Taiwan is under snow for the first time in 50 years. The freak cold snap is proving fun for some on the subtropical island, but there is a serious side too. Here, dead fish are being pulled from a fish farm, and tragically, it's not just the fish perishing. Officials say temperatures as low as 4 degrees Celsius killed 57 mostly elderly people at the weekend. Few homes are equipped with central heating. Asia's deep freeze doesn't stop there. South Korea is frozen solid after temperatures plummeted across the country this weekend. On the resort island of Jeju, dubbed the Hawaii of South Korea, travellers were stranded and flights grounded for 3 days. The airport reopened on Monday, but not before helpless holidaymakers had hunkered down to await a break in the weather. Staying here has been really exhausting and I want to get out of Jeju. I've been at the airport for 12 hours now. There was travel chaos in Japan too. In the southwestern city of Fukuoka, authorities issued their first heavy snowfall warnings since 1983. After 5 weather-related deaths around the country this weekend, at least here there were only flight and train cancellations for locals to contend with. I was supposed to board the 2 o'clock train, but I'm thinking of going home since I don't know when the trains will arrive. A sprinkling of snow in southern China, meanwhile, was a real novelty. Guangzhou saw its first flakes for almost 70 years. It wasn't much, but it was enough to give many here their first taste of a white winter.
In Europe, EU Interior and Justice Ministers are holding urgent talks on the refugee crisis at a meeting in Amsterdam. This as thousands of refugees are stranded in the bitter cold, trying to make their way through the Balkans, hoping to reach countries like Germany. But with more and more restrictions, many migrants are finding themselves stuck far from the destinations they hope to reach. Let's look at this TWTV report for more on that.
Salishta Aid Center in Belgrade. Ahmed and Amra from Algeria are happy to have made it this far. The pair, both 25, traveled through Macedonia illegally on their way from Greece to Serbia, bypassing official border controls and avoiding common stops along the now well-trodden Balkan route. Officials along that route are only letting migrants from Syria, Afghanistan and Iraq pass. Others are left stuck in Belgrade. It's not easy, to be honest. Why can't we travel on like the others? We're also people. We want the same rights. Many asylum seekers are already trapped in Belgrade, and every day more find they have to stay in Miksalishta, a first stop here for those traveling illegally. Serbia and other Balkan states are now only letting migrants through who have declared Germany or Austria as their goal. But for those left in Belgrade, bigger concerns are now looming. No office in Belgrade is checking whether someone is here illegally or legally. What's important now is that no one freezes to death in this weather. A hostel for €6 a night. It's the only accommodation available to many in Belgrade if they aren't applying for asylum. We all have the same goal. We want to go to Western Europe. None of us want to stay in Serbia. So you'll travel on illegally? Yes, every option's on the table for us. We'll go to Croatia on foot if we must. Or they can pay a trafficker. The two Algerians say more people will now take illegal and more dangerous journeys.
We take a second break now. Sports is next. Welcome back. The makers of one of the world's most recognized brands, adored by sportsmen and women and sports enthusiasts, Adidas, has announced it is cancelling its multi-million-dollar sponsorship deal with the International Association of Athletics Federation. The decision by the German sportswear company comes as a spiraling scandal engulfs the world of athletes. Ababakar Senghor reports.
The troubles affecting world athletics is set to deepen, as one of its biggest organizations, Adidas, announced it is cancelling all sponsorship with the world body. This development is the latest episode in what has been an embarrassing few months for the IAAF, with new head Lord Sebastian Coe insisting he is the right man to redirect the trajectory of the organization. Calls are being made for a radical change in the way the World Athletics body is being run.
Yes, the IAAF Council should have been more aware of what was going on. Were they in a position to know more? No. And I need to put systems in place that make sure that the current council and successor council and my successor is never in a position where we do not understand the nature of the day-to-day running of the organisation. It's very important that we go on doing what we need to do to make those changes. The public, the athletes, the sponsors, the media will ultimately judge us on the changes that we make. We can't beg them for trust. We have to earn it, and we should not be in denial about that. And Dick Pound is absolutely right. This is a long journey. We can make the changes, and we can make those changes quickly, but the cultural embedment of this is going to take some time.
Those goals increased in volume in the wake of allegations of bribery, corruption and blackmailing of drug cheats involving former IAAF President Lamin Jack and his son Papa Masata Jack. The report also indicted senior athletics officials from Russia, including Valentin Balaknichev and Alexis Melenikov. The swift decision by Adidas is a major statement and a serious indictment of the leadership of IAAF. The problems are stacking up, and so is the call for action on the allegations of mass doping and corruption and blackmailing. It is a remarkable story of the often untold sleazy and mainly corrupt practices inherent in sporting organizations like the IAAF. The largely glamour on the tracks often betrays a deeply corrosive underbelly affecting these powerful sports.
Biding his time, and as he does that, Belgium and Jamaica and Great Britain close up, and goodness me, Javon Francis has gone crazy here.
For Grts Sport, this is Babu Katsina.
It's now time for the weather report from the Central Forecast Office.
The Gambia is endowed with a wonderful landscape full of baobab trees. Like its Cape Point in Bakau, it is one of the most exotic sceneries in the world. The baobab tree is a symbol of resilience, wisdom, and resourcefulness. For the baobab tree provides good food in times of hunger, rents its bark for medications, and its sap for glue. In the Gambia, there is a company like the baobab tree, 100% African and purely Gambian in all aspects, in know-how, design, value, capital, and management. That company is Elton. Elton, employing hundreds of Gambians and proudly associating itself with development in the Gambia. Elton, side by side with the Gambia.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the weather forecast. Sunny and warm atmosphere affected the country during the past 24 hours. And for the satellite image shows convective cloud over part of Gulf of Guinea, likewise over the southern part of Africa. Tonight the weather is expected to be cool and slightly hazy. These conditions are expected to continue till tomorrow morning with occasionally breezy and partly cloudy during the morning, becoming warm in the afternoon. Surface winds will be mainly northeasterlies in direction and the speed will vary between 15 and 20 kilometers per hour. Minimum temperatures across the country will be 17 degrees over the North Bank and West Coast region, 19 over the Greater Banjul, 18 over Lower River, while 15 over Central and Upper River region. And for the maximum temperatures will be 33 degrees Celsius over the Greater Banjul, 36 over West Coast and North Bank, 37 over Lower River, while Central and Upper recorded the highest with 38 degrees Celsius. Low tide will be 0.3 meters at 5 a.m. and also at 5 p.m. High tide will be 1.6 meters at 12 a.m. and 1.8 meters at 12 p.m. Waves will be 0 to 1 meter northerly swells. The sun will rise at 7:34 in the morning and set at 2 minutes after 7 in the evening. That was the forecast, and good night. Sorry.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. President Jammeh has praised star football referee Bakary Papa Gassama's efforts to raise the Gambia's prestige and profile internationally. Child Fund the Gambia has donated a 40-foot container laden with medical equipment to Operation Save the Children Foundation. Severe weather blame on the El Nino phenomenon has left dozens dead in East Asia. And European Union Interior and Justice Ministers are meeting in the Netherlands for urgent talks on the unprecedented migrant crisis. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, WNIFRED, NICOL, and the entire news team, thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us and enjoy the rest of our programs.